Hello fellow Trekkies, and welcome to Trekking Out the News. I'm your host James, and now let's get you up to speed on all the week's Star Trek headlines, shall we? So as to be expected, the biggest story of the week was the release of Star Trek Section 31 on Friday. So we're going to do the news a little differently this week. We're going to cover the gaming news first, and then we're going to do a review of Section 31 after that. So let's get right to it. All of this and more dropping in 3, 2, 1. In honor of the release of Star Trek Section 31, Fleet Command has released a behind-the-scenes video for the film titled Building the World of Section 31. Hear from the creators, discover hidden design inspirations, and uncover the stories that shape the movie's unique aesthetic. Once you've watched the doc, you can claim a free prize in-game. In the Lower Decks game, step into Fairhaven as Janeway is back. But nothing is ever simple in the holodeck. Jump in now and add Captain Janeway to your crew. In celebration of the 15th anniversary of Star Trek Online, the dev team is happy to announce that Star Trek Online unveiled. The 33rd season of Star Trek Online will launch on February 11th, 2025 for PC captains, and will launch on PlayStation and Xbox consoles on March 11th, 2025. In this new Star Trek Online season, you can dive into new story content with the Axiom episode, a 15th anniversary event, and a new lockbox, and so much more. Speaking of so much more, it has been confirmed that star Jonathan Delarco, aka Hugh, is returning for this episode, and will be reprising his role as Hugh. The last time I saw Hugh was in Star Trek Picard Season 1. Also, during the 15th anniversary event, you'll be able to earn a new ship, the Garrett Command Alliance Dreadnought Cruiser. The new Lockbox Discovery Partners in Crime includes brand new Grand Prize ship Breen Keith Sar Intel Courier, which is the ship that was used by Maul and Locke in the 5th season of Star Trek Discovery. It's also been confirmed that we are getting new items in the Lobi store as well. Right, with that out the way, it's time to move on to our Trekking Out the News special Section 31 review. Now, if you do not want spoilers for the movie, I will not be offended if you drop out right here. So I'm giving you 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right, if you're still here, this is on you. As most of you are aware, this Friday saw the release of the new Star Trek film, Section 31, on Paramount+. In this video, we'll be diving deeper into Section 31, discussing its plot, characters, and our thoughts, so please be aware there will be spoilers again. You have been warned. Let's get cracking. Section 31 starts with a flashback to Emperor Philippa Georgiou's early life before she became the Terran Emperor, and we get a number of flashbacks throughout the film. In this and subsequent flashbacks, we learn that the Terran Empire has created a Hunger Games type contest to decide the next Terran Emperor. We learn that Philippa had fallen in love in the arena with a young man called San, and the two of them teamed up to win the contest. This plot beat may have been a little bit too close to the Hunger Games for some, as it's literally the plot of the first Hunger Games book, where Peter and Candace do the exact same thing. But this was an interesting take on Terran succession nonetheless. Also, a bit of trivia for you. Did you know that Lower Decks star Jack Quaid, who plays Boimler, was also in the Hunger Games? He played Marvell. It's a bit off topic, but I couldn't resist. From these flashbacks, we learn that to become the Emperor, you must cut all ties to your old life, i.e., kill your family. Philippa is successful at this endeavor, San is not. So as punishment, San is forced into Emperor Georgiou's service. She marks him with a red-hot sword that her father was working on before his untimely demise at her hand, and Emperor Philippa Georgiou is born. We then cut to the film's opening credits, which I must admit seems like something out of a video game. It was quite cool, where the Section 31 handler reintroduces Emperor Philippa Georgiou to us and explains to anyone who hasn't seen Discovery how dangerous she really is. We then learn that she's in hiding and owns her own space station outside of Federation space. We then get introduced to the Section 31 crew who are scattered around the station in hiding, and Alok Sar, the leader of the team, goes and introduces himself to Georgiou, pretending like, he just wants to do some drugs with her. The two of them go off to another room, and she's like, "What the hell are you doing on my ship? I know you're a team." And they're like, "Oh, okay, whoopsie." We then cut to the bridge of a cool-looking Section 31 ship docked at the station, and we get introduced to the scene. We meet Seth, who's a cyborg, Quasi, a shapeshifter, Fuzz, a microscopic life form inside a giant Vulcan robot body, Melly, who's a Delton, and a young Rachel Garrett, who is the future captain of the Enterprise C. They explain their mission was to actually steal Georgiou's identity and then try and get a super weapon from an arms dealer, and Georgiou offers to help them capture the man. Now, unfortunately for Philippa, it all goes sideways when a masked figure appears and attacks Philippa. A subsequent fight ensues, culminating the loss of the super weapon, the death of Melly, and the revelation that Georgiou knows what the mystery super weapon is. Alok's like, what is it? And she's just stunned. And so he stuns her. It's kind of funny plot beat. Anyway, so Alok questions Georgiou about the weapon. She says, I'm not telling you unless I know who you are. So he reveals that he's actually from the eugenics wars. He was frozen and he was an augment in the augment army. It's not confirmed whether or not he is one of Khan's crew members. I mean, that would be a cool plot beat if he was, but I don't know if that's the case. After this revelation, Georgiou trusts him and tells her that I built the super weapon as the Emperor. It's designed to wipe out entire sectors of space, so they have to go get it back. And we then find out in a flashback that Sum killed himself over this weapon, believing that Georgiou had gone mad, and that's why she ordered it destroyed. After this exchange, both Alok and Georgiou go to question the arms dealer they captured. They have a little punch-up with him, and he reveals that he's actually from the Mirror Universe, and that's how he got the weapon, and he was trying to sell it to the masked man from earlier, and then suddenly, before we learn anything else, the ship explodes, and the arms dealer is killed, and the rest of the team have to emergency transport off the ship. We then get what can only be described as Star Trek Among Us, where the crew is sort of like Theorem being picked off one by one. A couple of people die. Seth the cyborg dies. He's sort of been blamed for a little while. You think it's him, and then you think it's Garrett. And then finally, it's revealed it was Fuzz controlling Seth. After a short chase scene, Georgiou learns from Fuzz that Sum, her ex-boyfriend, is actually alive and is the man behind the mask. After explaining the villain's plot to bring the bomb back to Terra through a portal that's opened up in Federation space so that they can start an invasion from Terra. It's a little bit confusing, but it's a sort of... it sets up possibility of a Terran invasion, which I thought was an interesting plot beat, actually. The team then consists of now Philippa, Alok, Garrick, and Quasi, because the others are either dead or were bad guys, and they have to use a garbage ship to chase after this really cool-looking Terran ship that's like advanced weaponry and stuff, and they're just chasing them in a garbage trawler. It's quite a funny plot beat. They catch up with them and they just tractor beam this ship into like a radiation field. Do you think the shielding of the ship would like resist from the tractor beams? But apparently not. So they're just sort of dragging this ship with this tractor beam, which is a bit silly. When the shields go down, Alok and Georgiou beam over. We then get a fight scene over the bomb, resulting in the death of Sum, which is quite tragic, and Georgiou's really upset. The destruction of Fuzz's Vulcan robot suit, and the possible subsequent death of Fuzz. Alok and Georgiou would then set the weapon to blow up in the portal to the Mirror Universe, and it's a happy ever after because they blew up the portal. We then get 3 weeks later, which is revealed that Section 31 have offered Georgiou a permanent post. Rachel Garrett is now a lieutenant commander, and Fuzz's wife, in the exact same robot body but like slightly different, joins the team because she wants to hunt down Fuzz because he's like left her with all these kids, and he's just it's quite a funny plot beat. But yes, and then we fight because she suspects he's still alive. Then we get a Freaky Friday cameo because Jamie Lee Curtis, I know she's been other things, but I know her from that. She turns up at the end and is like, right, here's your next mission, and that's where the film ends. Now, my thoughts on the film was it was quite a short film. I mean, the runtime was only an hour and a half long, so it was kind of like, you know, there's classic TV movie events where it's a slightly longer episode. It was more like that. But we do know that Section 31 was supposed to be a series, so there were some plot lines throughout that either needed more time or a bit more development because it felt very, very rushed. And Sarah noticed this. Some of the flashbacks were in weird orders, like the masked man at the beginning. Sarah was just like, it's Sum. It's the guy, because they had the clip of her and the guy together, Georgiou and Sum, as kids, and they're wearing exactly the same armor that the masked guy is wearing. So it's a bit like, hang on, what's going on? Also, it was a bit weird that, you know, during the timeline, like you've set it in the Lost era, which is a great time, but the Terran Empire isn't really around during that era, at least as far as we know, because Spock sort of united them under a more peaceful Terran Empire at that point. At least that's what we think. DS9 led us to believe that. We don't know at what point the Terran Empire is destroyed, because we know by DS9 it's destroyed. So there's sort of like a 60-year gap between this and that. So I think 60 or 80, I can't remember. But either way, it was a little bit odd there. It was a little bit hard to not think about that. But if I'm going to be completely honest, with all the plot holes, you know, with this film, obviously, That's a good point. Some being the same age as Giorgio, even though he should be 40 years older than her because she's time jumped and he hasn't. It was very interesting. But discrepancies aside, I had a lot of fun watching this film. It was action packed, had a lot of humor. Having a legacy character with Garrett was quite nice. You knew she wasn't going to die, but it was sort of like I see what you did there. So yeah, it was quite nice, and I would have loved to have seen it as a series, just a bit more time to get rid of those discrepancies. It may have had them anyway. At the end of the day, I've sort of got to a point now, I'm just like, Star Trek has always had plot discrepancies. You know, I've just got through at this point. Overall, I thought it was good. But that's what I think. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Let's have a little discussion. Let's talk about it. Let me know what you liked, what you didn't like. You can let me know if you really, really hated it or you really, really loved it. I don't mind. Tell me what you think. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Let's have a chat. Thank you to our Patreon supporters for helping to make all these Priority 1 Armada shows and streams possible. Well, that's it for this week's Trekking Out the News. Don't forget to like the video and leave a comment below with your thoughts. Follow us on X and Blue Sky at P1 Armada and check out our website www.priority1armada.com for more information about our Star Trek Online in-game fleets. And join us every Saturday for the Priority 1 Armada live stream where we go more in depth on this week's Star Trek Online news and take you, the viewers, on an away mission to earn in-game loot. Viewers can also win loot by entering our giveaways during each live stream. That's every Saturday at 9 PM US Eastern on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Kick. We host a range of other streams throughout the week, focusing on different Trek games and news. If you want to, subscribe and hit that notification button so you don't miss out on all the latest Star Trek news. That's it from me. Live long and prosper.